Hi everyone, it's Ted with the Holmes team at William Raveis Real Estate. And today I am excited to have Paul Hart here from William Raveis Mortgage. Paul is an expert in the mortgage industry, and I asked him to talk to us about what buyers need to do to be competitive in this real estate market. So Paul, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, Ted.
Yep. And I work with a lot of buyers, and in this market right now, all buyers need to be pre-approved before they start viewing homes. So can you talk to us a little bit about what are the differences in pre-approvals? I know you offer what's called a certified pre-approval, and I just want everybody to understand what some of the differences are. Just explain that to us a little bit.
Sure. So right now, as we know, everything is competitive in the market. So having yourself pre-approved is very important because also to get into these homes to view them, most realtors want you to be pre-approved. So the difference between a pre-approval, a certified pre-approval, which we offer here at Raveis Mortgage, or a pre-qualification is this. A pre-qualification essentially is a conversation with a lender. They may go through some income numbers with you, talk about the purchase price, and issue a letter. A pre-approval is when you take an application, the lender does pull credit, it is a hard pull for all three bureaus, and then run that file through Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. We have a certified pre-approval, which means is I'm collecting information up front. ID, W-2s, pay stubs, and at least the bank statement from where the down payment and closing costs are coming from. I then take that information, also run it through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to get a certified pre-approval with documentation.
So what is the obligation of the buyer if they do this certified pre-approval? Because they're getting this pre-approval before they start their search, so they don't have a house yet. Is there a cost, and what is the obligation?
Sure. There's no cost to do the certified pre-approval or any pre-approval with us at Raveis. The obligation part of it, there is no obligation to stay. We obviously would like the buyer to stay and do the loan through us, but we essentially want to do the upfront work and collect pay stubs and W-2s so that we know the buyer is a strong buyer, so that when they do make an offer, there isn't that guesswork as far as will they be approved or not be approved.
Okay, great. That sounds like a great program. And I right now we use that for my buyers, and it's definitely gives them an advantage in this market. So there are a lot of different options out there for buyers. What should a buyer consider when choosing a lender? And what are some of the differences between what a bank does versus a broker?
Sure. So the difference between a bank and a broker is simply the bank is where possibly they do their savings and checking. So they feel comfortable that they should possibly go there. The biggest downside to that is that the banks have their own overlay and the loan can only stay there. So if there's a little issue here or there, you can't do anything with that loan. Banks also may add an overlay, which simply means Fannie and Freddie have their own guidelines. Sometimes the lender, or the bank, I should say, is not comfortable with what Fannie and Freddie would offer, so they would add an overlay onto that loan to make it more attractive to them to keep it on their books. With a banker or a broker, we at Raveis Mortgage are a banker. So what that means is that we can close with our own money, or we have about 25 to 30 lenders that we can put mortgages with.
Mm-hmm. And you do underwriting in-house?
Correct. So our underwriting is in-house, which is localized in Connecticut, versus the banks do send most of their underwriting out to the Midwest, where those clients are simply a loan number to them. I know the difference is because I also worked on retail, and now here at Raveis, we're on the banking side.
So I know there is an area that buyers may not be aware of how their mortgage interest rate can be affected by their credit score. Okay? Can you explain to us a little bit about how credit scores will affect the buyer's interest rate?
Sure. This is probably the most important part of the mortgage process, is what a buyer's credit score will be. To put it simply, the lower buyer's credit score is, the higher the interest rate would be. Now, when I say higher, I'm not talking about 1% or anything like that. It could be an eighth, it could be a 1/4% higher. Then on the flip side, the higher a buyer's credit score is, the lower the interest rate would be. Now, part two of that question would be, how much are they putting down on the purchase? Because down payment amount also is a play or a factor in what the interest rate would be.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to be able to determine when you start with like a certified pre-approval what their interest rate could be when they find a house, right? Because you'll know their credit score. When does the interest rate really become important to that buyer?
Correct. That's a great question, because the first question I receive when dealing with buyers are, what is the interest rate right away? So I can give them an idea of what the interest rate is on application, but the interest rate is more important once a buyer finds that house that they made an offer on, and then they're into fully executed contracts. Because then at that point, the contracts have a closing date on there, which then we price the loan up, get the current interest rates, and then at that point, that's where it's most important.
So, sure, a question you get all the time, where are interest rates headed? What's going on?
So lately, everything I've been reading, I've read an article this morning about the same question, is that interest rates will go up. It's just a matter of the timing of when that would happen. They're still up in the air if it would be early 2022 or mid 2022. It's just a matter of, there's many factors involved when the interest rates come out and when they're changing.
Paul, I really appreciate you spending some time with us today and sharing your knowledge of mortgage lending. What's the best way for everybody to contact you?
Well, thank you for having me, Ted. I love doing these videos. You can reach me at paul.hart@raveis.com. I'll be happy to answer anybody's questions or give more details of what we offer here at Raveis Mortgage.
So thank you everybody for viewing this video with us today. And for any of your real estate needs, contact me anytime and enjoy the rest of your day.